Hi, folks. Welcome to the Seco Sandlot. We're so glad that you could join us today. I'm your host, Charles Duncan.
And I'm also your host, Zach Berman.
How's it going, Zach? It's good to finally be alive and to see you and finally, have a conversation. It sucks that we got to do it through Zoom, but it's fun. We're able to do this and we're going strong still. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
All right. I am an incoming junior University of Missouri. I hail from the wonderful, beautiful, best state on the planet, New Jersey, which is where I am currently riding out the pandemic. I am a journalism major. I hope to go into play-by-play, preferably baseball, but really you could throw anything at me and I'd take it head on. And I was supposed to be on the broadcast team for the Saints this summer. However, there are no games to broadcast, so podcasting it is. And I can't say I would rather be doing anything else right now.
I know, man. I wish I was in the broadcast booth with you. I was also supposed to be one of those lucky few in the broadcast booth, looking down at those bright college young faces and, calling games in the summer sun. But instead, we're stuck at home. We're inside. It's hot, so we probably got the air on. I don't know how hot it is in Jersey today, but I'm sure it's pretty toasty right now. And, it's at least good to be on. At least we can interact with each other. And I'm local. I'm from USC. I was a broadcast journalism major, a marketing minor, a minor in sports media industries as well. And I found the Saints just through a random Indeed job application and really clicked right away with the group. And I really just wanted to broadcast. I love baseball. I hope to get into broadcasting soon. I've done a few podcasts as well. And I've been playing baseball or involved with baseball since I can remember, since I was about 5 years old. I was playing farm for my Angels farm team. So it's been good. It's good to at least be working virtually with you and to do this podcast. I'm excited. We got a lot of great guests in the summer. And, it's going to be fun, man. We're going to make it fun. We're going to make the best of it. And I think it's going to be a good time. And it'll give us some great contacts. We love our contacts so far. Shout out to, Tom Stafford and Nicholas Gorman for taking us on and for always being there. They're basically our managers at the Arroyo Seco team. So yeah, it's going to be fun. And Zach, is there anything that you want to tell us before, we get started with our first interview?
You know what? I'm hyped. I mean, look, obviously when I applied for the position, this wasn't what I was expecting. But then again, you could say that about the whole year. So you know what? I'm hyped. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this.
It's going to be a hype season, man. We're making a season of our own. And I really feel bad for the kids who can't, do anything right now, especially the baseball players. We're going to try to give them shout outs. We'll try to have them on the podcast if they're willing. We want to get them involved and make them a part of our group. So that way they don't feel like they've lost out on a chance to really get recognized and just, voice their opinions at a time like this. We've talked to a few people so far just outside of the Seco world, getting their opinions and making sure that, we include them and we want to get them on the podcast as well. So we're excited for this season and I can't wait to have our first guest on the show today, Mr. Aaron Milam. He's the CEO and head honcho over at Arroyo Seco Baseball. He founded this organization 14 years ago. He has his mission statement all about tradition and family and philosophy. And he's going to go into that today. And we're excited to have him on the show. I'm excited to finally talk to him and to get put a face to his voice that I've been hearing on all of these calls. And it's going to be a good time. I think we're going to have a great conversation about how the Seco brand got started and honestly how much it's evolved since it got started. They were just a part of a Babe Ruth league and now they're part of the CCL. It's come so far. And I'm excited to hear about his journey. It's going to be really fun and entertaining stuff.
The team's journey as a whole is really interesting. Obviously, we play in Pasadena, which is a city that is beyond rich with baseball tradition. The whole LA area is a baseball hotbed in itself. And that stretches beyond the Dodgers and the Angels, but all the way down to developmental leagues and even into youth baseball. So Aaron is the head honcho, the star of sorts of this organization that really started as nothing. And last year made it to the championship of the CCL in what I believe was their 4th season in California Collegiate League play, which is by college prep league standards, absolutely ridiculous.
I know. And the amount of network and traction that they've already built up and the kids that are willing to come play for them, they've gotten such a great network with these college coaches. And that's what you need to do. You need to be reliable and you need to be trustworthy that, you're taking on these kids and they're basically, loaners to you. You're renting them out for the summer. So you got to give them back in the same condition. And I'm sure the head honcho, Aaron Milam, will agree. He knows that these kids are just a loan and that, he takes really good care of them. And that's key because he houses them. He, makes sure that they have a place to stay during the summer. And I think that that's unbelievable. And, even the pool you were talking about just from LA, talk about the college level at SC. I mean, they're a recognized historic program with Dado. And I mean, they have the most college championships in baseball out of any school by double. I mean, they have 12 and the next highest is 6 over at LSU, I believe. So it's just amazing the amount of talent that they have here that they can choose from. And I really respect these owners and the general managers for really coming together and building such a solid program for these kids to rely on. It's amazing. And these 5 collegiate teams are some of the best in California, if not the best, especially at the college level. And I'm just excited to hear what Aaron has to say. It's going to be a great show today, Zach. I hope you're
absolutely.
I know you are.
I can't wait to get going. I'd show the face, but right now it's a mask only zone for me. But under the mask, I'm hyped. I've said hyped like 3 times. Let's go.
I can feel the
in the works for so long. And I knew the second that the season was canceled, I reached out to Aaron and Tom and Nick, and I said, is there any way I could still participate in something, still take part in helping you guys make your summer 2020 season, even though there's not going to be nine guys on a baseball diamond? How can I make this special? How can I help? And this was exactly in the vein of what I was thinking.
Couldn't agree more, Zach. It's honestly something that I really appreciate them doing because these guys are volunteers and they have other jobs and they didn't have to do something like this, but that's how much this means to them. And they talk about the interns and how much they, rely on them to keep them going. And it's just awesome to see that kind of recognition. And it's really a team effort from these guys. And you don't see that too often. Especially, from a nonprofit organization. So it's really nice that they're not about the money like some of the other leagues out there and that, they're really out there to help these kids and to show them a good summer. We're going to have some guests on that are going to talk about later in the podcast I think we're going to do that in the next episode. We got Bryce and JT. We're going to talk about their time at Seco and how unbelievable summer they had, and just the summer that you can have there it can change your life, and it's something that you could build friendships, you can network, and that's something I hope to do even at the intern level. We're already starting to do it, and it can be a lifelong friendship. You never know who you're going to meet, what's going to happen, or the work experience you're going to get, and I'm just so thankful that we have this opportunity, and it's going to be great. I'm excited to have him on, and let's get to it. Let's get to Aaron. Let's get him on the show.
Absolutely. So without further ado, the CEO, manager, Transformers aficionado himself, Mr. Aaron Milam. Got it?
Got it.
Awesome.
We have a very special guest joining the Seco Sandlot today, CEO and head honcho of the Arroyo Seco Baseball Organization himself. His name is Aaron Milam. He's coming in hot, and he's here to join us today. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well. Glad to have you on the podcast.
We're doing great. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's an honor. we're just happy to have you aboard. Wish we were with
All
you in
right.
person.
Yeah, we do too. We certainly do.
So let's get right down into it, man. Let's educate these people all about Arroyo Seco history. In your terms, discuss the origin of the organization and how you really feel that it has developed over the years.
Well, I mean, I could go into the long version, but we probably don't have time for that. Essentially, what happened is that when I moved back here from San Diego about 19 years ago, Nick, Tommy, and I, we were friends in high school, and we came back to the area from college, and there was a team called the A's that was run here out of Pasadena, and the guy that was running it was actually my Little League coach, and he was going to let it go. This older guy was going to retire and be done with it, and asked if we wanted to take it and go. So we did, and we just needed to figure out how to operate and how to do it. So we ran a tryout, picked up some kids, and ran a team with a schedule that was already set for us that the that the guy had put together for us, and we really enjoyed it. It was kind of a first experience. I had been coaching in San Diego at Sarah High School in Tirisana, and but it was the first experience, being out on our own and running the squad, and we were young kids, and the rest is history from there. 18 years later, it has grown into a full-fledged CCL team, and the premise of the team started with it was the graduated senior model. What we wanted to do was put together kind of a college preparatory program that ran in the summer for high school seniors that were going on to college to play baseball. And then we would put them in situations that would mimic and be very similar to what they would have to deal with when they get to college. Examples is that we would play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'd try to play 4 games over a 3-day slot. That kind of mimics what the CCAA does here with the Division II conferences in California, where you're playing 4 games over 3 days. And then we'd play on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so we'd give them a mimic of a weekday game. So they would essentially get 5 games a week out of the 7 days, but they would have their Wednesday, Thursdays off, and they'd have their Mondays off. We'd do that, again, to mimic the collegiate schedule. And we would schedule an independent schedule and play, a lot of the local college teams that are either independent or in some of the other local type leagues that are around here. And when we went from there, we made the kids travel together. We went on the road. We'd go and we'd stay overnight. We put them in hotels, give them roommates, give them curfews and so forth, just to kind of mimic what it would be like in college. And that grew. It grew and grew, and we recruited for it. And our first team, I remember, was mostly kids that lived here in the local Pasadena area, west side San Gabriel Valley, and La Cañada, San Marino, and South Pasadena, Temple City, Monrovia, and Arcadia. And it got bigger and bigger. And we ran that graduated senior model until, I think it was 2014 or so. And by then, you had kids coming that were, they lived in from Santa Barbara to Temecula. Had a few kids that were being boarded that would, either a college coach would call and say, hey, this guy's got family that down there. He can stay with the family. Can he play with you guys this summer? And, we weren't in the housing business at that time. So we'd say, yeah, that works. And, a few guys were boarded, but that was essentially the model. Southern California is pretty rich with baseball talent, and so we didn't have to go too far to look for it. But I hate to refer to it as a business, because it's not. It's a nonprofit for us. It's our charity. It's our hobby. But as in any business, nonprofit or not, you've got to change with the clientele, and you've got to adapt to your market to be able to survive and to be able to grow. And to be able to improve, because the old adage there is that you're either moving forward or you're moving backward. You're not just staying stagnant. And what we saw that more of the college coaches were trying to place their incoming freshmen in collegiate leagues. I can tell you that we had over the years, a few kids that were going to UCLA that were local guys for the area that would play for us before they would go to school. And then come 12, 13, 14, it was really hard to get kids that were going to UCLA because they were sending most of those kids to the West Coast League. And, albeit that rightfully so, that it was a good move for them. It's a good move for the kids, and it's a good move for the school to have those kids playing in a full-fledged collegiate league against, older kids and getting ready to see what it's going to be like in college. So the decision was made that, hey, we need to grow. We need to change. We need to change our clientele because we're losing this graduated senior market. The availability for them to come out and play in the abundance that we had them, especially when the local guys, they saw it starting to go downhill a little bit. So we decided to make the change, and we had some wins and we had some losses, and both on and off the field, and we had to figure out what we were doing. At that time, I decided that I'd stop coaching the team and that I'd move behind the scenes and GM the program to see how we were going to do this changeover. Because we had a lot of, operational items that needed to get built up. And Nick and I really took on a lot of that task. We had to buy a bus. That was one of them. We had to change our fundraising models because the fundraising models usually were just us paying for stuff out of pocket. And, and after that, it was, this is not a $15,000 organization anymore. It's a $150,000 organization. And so we need to figure out how to do this. One of the bigger items was being able to house all these kids, from going from an organization that didn't house anybody to growing and growing. To this year, our roster this year, we had 32 kids that were supposed to be boarded here. 32 of the 40 were guys that were coming in that were going to be living here with us. So, that whole institution of housing kids in the summer, like that changes things. It really changed the dynamic, and we had to get that set up. And then getting the youth camp set up really kind of fell in our lap because when I stopped coaching high school baseball, I was hired at Occidental College, and we got to partner with them for the youth camp. And kind of how we meshed that in with the Saints kids working that has been a really good thing because they get to give back to the community and coach these kids. Also, it gives them a chance to make a buck if they need, to earn some disposable income while they're here.
And now the youth camp, that's merged with Seco, you said? They work together, and that's like a charity thing that you guys do, and you partner with a different organization?
Well, it's Occidental College's youth baseball camp that they have during the summer, and there's 8 weeks of it. And for 6 to 7 of those 8 weeks, the Saints players staff the camp. They're the camp counselors, and we organize the shifts. And part of the requirements for the players coming here is that they got to work a week of youth camp for us. They work 1 shift a day, not 2, so they work 3 hours a day. And for 5 days, and it's typically not 5 days in a row. We break it up, so they're working 2 days 1 week and 3 days another week. We try to pair it around days where travel days versus home game days. But the whole intention of it is to give back to the community, and so the kids, you see all these guys that are coaching them in the youth camp, and then the kids will come out and they'll watch these guys play baseball at night when they're playing down at the Brook. But the other thing, like I said, it gives the players an opportunity to make a little bit of disposable income so that they can support themselves while they're here. But back on track with the history, I mean, we essentially converted the program there. We went for a couple years where we had to run 2 teams because we were still servicing the graduated senior market, and we were playing in some of the local leagues, and we're still running as an independent. And then the plan was always to join the California Collegiate League, but we didn't want to jump in without having a foundation set up to be able to support ourselves both financially and operationally and on the field of play. So we handled that, and it went faster than I thought, to be honest. But by 16, we were with the CCL, and we've been growing ever since, and it's been a wild ride. And this last year in 19, I felt like our operational institutions were to the point where I could go back and coach again because that was the part that I really loved. There was you look at it and the trajectory of this is where I wanted it to be, is that we're getting better and better every year. The type of players, the quality of players that we're getting. I was looking at what this year's roster was going to be. It's crazy, it's going to be really good. And last year, I mean, we were a playoff team, and we lost the Foresters in the Southern Division Championship. I mean, just a couple of years being in the league, I think that's pretty good. So the trajectory is there. The foundation is there. The operations are there. So the sky's the limit at this point. Gradually built up guys that we were boarding. And like I said, last year we boarded 24, 25 kids, I think. And each year was a few more. We started boarding about 10, 11, then it was in the teens, 16, 17. And then we get into the 20s. and I didn't know what to expect. But I'll tell you the same thing, especially adding the intern crew, because I didn't get to speak about that. I mean, what you guys are doing right now is a huge part of the transition of this program. We didn't have this support when we were graduated senior team. It was Nick, Tommy, and I trying to make this thing work with some of our really good friends who were helping us coach the team. But having the intern program, you saw last year, there was 20-some interns, there was 40 players, and they were all thrown here in Southern California and the Pasadena area, show up for this sprint of a season and try to figure out how to operate in what capacity. God, it was just awesome to watch that, and it was awesome to see how quickly they grew together and how good of friends they became and how much they enjoyed each other and how much they enjoyed hanging out with each other. So really, like that to me is what describes the Saints family today, and being able to see that culminate year to year here going forward is really why I do this. It's really why we all do this. Traditions are different today than they were in the past, but I still think that each year brings upon its own traditions that will probably resonate with kids. They may not remember it the next year. They may not remember it 5 years from now, but they may be sitting there 10 years or 20 years from now watching their own kids go play collegiate summer baseball, and they're going to remember back to something that they did when they were playing here, and how it affected them, and what kind of difference it made in their life. But that's how I apply, you can say our mission statement, that's how I apply it and how I think of it when I'm done with our players and with our team, and as we're doing this 10 months worth of work that leads up to the 2-month season. And then just to say a little bit on, mentioned the other teams that are in the area. Yeah, there's 6 Southern Division CCL teams within a 2 to 3 hour drive. And I will tell you without a doubt, I unequivocally can state that these are the best teams in Southern California. And the teams in the California Collegiate League are the best teams, hands down, in California. I was when we ran 2 teams, I was a founding member of the Sunset League, which is one of the local leagues here. And then I also ran a team in the Southern California League. And we've played teams from the WBA. We've played teams that run independently. We've played teams that run in, you name it, here in California. The organization, the organizations that are in the California Collegiate League, again, I can unequivocally say are the best organizations that are in California, from top to bottom, in every aspect of how they operate. I have when I'm in that room with those teams, when we're meeting, I can vouch for every single one of those programs. We are all doing this. While we may have our own skew and have our own process on how we do it, the motivations and the reasons that we do it are all the same. And what it boils down to is a very player-centric environment. No one is sitting here lining their pockets trying to make hundreds of thousands of dollars like they do in some of the other leagues that are in the country that are not for profit, and like they do in some of the other local leagues that are really just a pay for play. That is not the premise of this league. This is a player-centric developmental league for players that are appropriate for the level of play, and no one is trying to make a buck on them. What the players invest in the league all goes back to pay for themselves. What Major League Baseball invests in the league goes back to contribute to the players. So I can't talk about the quality of our teams enough. I have a very high admiration for everybody that operates in this league, and we would not be where we were. We would not. This league would not be where it is today without the Santa Barbara Foresters. And they are due, every respect that they get their due from what he's done there for 33 years.
Awesome. What aspects do you feel are the most important in maintaining such a, stellar program in your eyes?
It's not any different than coaching a regular team, a school, coaching I'm the pitching coach at Occidental College. It's getting there is not that different. And honestly, it starts with recruiting. Mm-hmm. Any coach that you talk to who doesn't say recruiting plays the predominant factor in their abilities to succeed is not telling you the truth. you have to be able to recruit. You have to be able to attract athletes, however you want to put it. You've got to have something that says, hey, I'm going to get players here. And at the collegiate summer baseball level, the ability to recruit is really based on your network of college coaches. It's not to say that network can't be developed, that network can't be groomed, and that it can't be increased over time, but it really is based off of your network. I think it grows every year. You'll pick up a new guy, you'll try to solicit a coach to get a player from one school, and then that one player will come and he'll have a good experience and go back to his school. And then when you ask that coach for players for the next year, you can try to tactfully mention, hey, we'd like to increase the profile of the player that we're getting from you guys. But it starts with recruiting, and that's really hands down how you win. I mean, I'm not trying to blow smoke at anybody here. It's not like they come here and we teach them the X's and O's of baseball and make them a better player off the bat. They're good players to start with. As I said before in the previous answer, one of the premises of collegiate summer baseball is that they come here and they hear the same message from us as they do their college coaches. And they have the same expectations from us as their college coaches have of them when they're in school. And the third thing is, with collegiate summer baseball, this is the closest that you can get to professional baseball before you get paid. I mean, what I mean by that is it's about the experience, right? You get to play baseball unfettered. You don't have class. You don't have homework. You don't have the social pressures of what's going on around you in your school. For the most part, hopefully you didn't bring your girlfriend with you. I've had one player do that in all the years that I've done this. But so you don't have that, right? You're stuck here. You're on island. You're playing baseball every day, and you have one day off. Other than that, you're playing baseball 6 out of 7 days, and you have to learn how to manage that. You have to learn how to manage your health and your body and fatigue, and being able to. Of course, they're young kids. They're going to go out. They're going to hang out and do what any 18 to 22-year-old kid's going to do. But hey, you want to play professional baseball, you got to learn how to manage that too, with being able to play baseball. So that aspect of it is no different than what they would get in the minor leagues. So you merge that with the expectations that their college coaches would have of them, which is, hey, be able to show up and do your work and get what you need to get out of this, and be a little bit autonomous, because they're not spending September through December with me. I'm not giving them a foundation. There's no throwing program that we're giving you to ramp up for the spring season. There's no lifting program. We give them a membership to 24-Hour Fitness, and we ask the coaches to send them with a workout plan that they would like them to do. But I'm not babysitting them to make sure that they're doing it. We're going to give them a membership to a gym and provide the facilities for them. Same thing. We're going to open the field for early work. If you want to get your throwing in, if you want to get some extra hacks in, come do it. But I'm not going to babysit you. Along those lines, I really think that we just keep the same expectations that their college coaches would keep, and go back and hope that we recruited the right guys.
Yeah, it seems a lot about like operation and your network, and not really about pushing the players, but trusting that they have, their own set of structure and foundation that they've come from. And obviously, they have their own coaches at the college level, and you can't, manipulate any kind of pitching mechanics, because then you'll get heat from them about, changing my pitcher's delivery, or, you messed up his field work or anything. And it seems like you guys just really give them the tools, and you give them the encouragement, and you have a lot of good operational structure to where you've succeeded, and you made the finals last year in just 3 years. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think being a college coach myself, I get to look at this from a slightly different perspective than a lot of the teams in the league, a lot of the coaches that coach teams in this league. These are not the players that come. These are not our guys. These
Right.
guys are on loan. Okay. I'm borrowing these guys from their college coaches and from their schools. And I was always taught that when you borrow something from somebody, you better return it in as good a condition as you received it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very sensitive to that fact throughout the summer. I advocate for these guys to get out of the summer what they need to get out of it. I may have a guy that comes here who, he was a Tuesday starter for his team and he's thrown 60 some innings and, or 70 some innings. And, hey, I only need to get 22 innings out of this summer. And the selfish thing to do in that sense, but okay, well, you're going to start 4 games and you're going to go for 6 innings a game and you're going to be done and we'll send you home. But, what I would prefer to do in that sense is say, okay, well, this guy's got to get his 20 some innings. So, we're going to use you in spurts of 2s. And so you're going to learn a different role. Or, if the role that your coach wants you to play is still as the starter, then we'll probably taper that down. You'll start and you'll go 3, and then the next guy will come in and do his thing. So that part of summer baseball has to kind of be tapered to the player and to the expectations of the coach. But, at the same time, these guys are on loan. Nothing that we would want to do that would jeopardize a relationship with one of the schools to get players in the future from that same program, because these players, they might be here for a year, some guys might be here for 2, but you hope that the relationship with the school is going to go on for many years to come.
All right, so my next question to you is, and obviously everything is up in the air, nobody really knows what the future holds, but what is one word or phrase that you think represents what the future holds for the entire program that is the Arroyo Seco Saints?
Gosh, I mean,
I know it's a tough question.
Yeah, collegiate baseball in general, the word I would tell you is uncertain, just because of all the different proposals that are out there. I guess let me start with that, and I'm trying not to. Won't try to make this too long. Collegiate summer baseball and collegiate baseball. There's a lot of things that are out there. There's proposals right now to start the season later, end the season later, and go into July. We've heard that Major League Baseball would like to see the draft in August, which they were talking about that before the COVID situation hit the country, and they saw the draft in August. And what does that do to the collegiate summer leagues? Now you're adding in graduated seniors so that those guys can get evaluated in the draft. That really changes how you look at the collegiate summer league altogether there, right? Then we also have, we don't just pull Division I guys. The roster's 30-some Division I guys, but there's probably, another 15% of the rosters that come from the other divisions, be it 2, 3, NAIA, junior college. In California here, the junior colleges have adopted a schedule this year where they're going, the season doesn't start till March, and it ends in the regionals here, like the 23rd, 4th, and 5th of June. So there's going to be some scheduling stuff that we're going to have to deal with on the field, because we share this field with one of the local junior colleges. You've also seen the Arizona, not all of them, but a good amount of the Arizona junior colleges have canceled sports for all of next year. Some of that has to do with budgetary reasons, but so what is the state of collegiate summer baseball? I think as a whole, I think there's some uncertainty. And I don't think all of the uncertainty is bad. I think that collegiate summer baseball is somewhat saturated because, face it, we heard a number of coaches, including Tim Corbin and including Jay Johnson, speak at ABCA over the last several years. To paraphrase, whether we like it or not, the travel ball generation is here, and they're in college now. And what you get from that trickles into the collegiate summer baseball aspect, is that you have a lot of these travel ball coaches that now want to run collegiate summer baseball because the kids will pay for it. And that has saturated the collegiate summer baseball model. And it's the reason why the only destination that we were willing to end in where we are geographically located would be the California Collegiate League, because I believe that there's a lot of leagues that are out there that, and I'm not going to say all, and I'm not going to say all teams, but I believe that there's a good percentage of local level leagues and teams that are doing it for profit. And with that saturation and with the uncertainty that we're going to see going forward, so when I said that I don't think it's all bad, I think that uncertainty will help desaturate the market a little bit. I think that some of those teams will thin, some of those leagues will thin. Is there a gap that may get filled? Yeah. And we're seeing it now here in California, that instead of the rogue or fragmented independent teams coming together to form a league, You have people that want to just start their own league and run all the teams in the league. And that's how they want to run and make their profit. And that's going on here in San Diego, and it's going on up in Northern California and here in the greater LA area per se. But is that what fills the gap? Maybe, maybe not. You know, you never know. But what's going to present the issue is if your high school and your colleges, as we've seen your junior colleges push back their schedules, that's going to affect your local type of less prominent collegiate leagues, because they won't have facilities to operate on during the time when they try to go, which is that last week in May through the first couple weeks in July. And then as far as the Saints, I would tell you that my answer would be the opposite. It's that uncertainty is the farthest thing from a one-word description of what's going forward with us. I think that we have done a really good job of preparing for a multi-year future. We're not just looking to 2021. We have a lot of things that are a lot of items that are going in place that will prepare us for the next 2 to 5 years. And that's really how we're forecasting, is over a 5-year time frame, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen scheduling wise, but we can forecast budgets, and we can forecast doing some nice things for our players. If it gets to be, I'll give you an example, if it gets to be where the local junior colleges are pushed back and we can't get on the fields, then maybe we take these kids to Alaska next summer, and go for the first week or so and try to play one of those teams. Or maybe we just go get on the road and get in our bus and go do a road trip and play some teams and go, have a trip for the beginning of the season. It's hypothetical, but it's been talked about and it's been budgeted for. I think uncertainty is the farthest thing to describe what we're going to do as a program. I think growth would be one word to describe us. I think fortitude would be a word to describe us. And I think cohesiveness would be another word to describe what's going to happen with the Saints, because of, you guys are a testament to this. We don't even have a baseball season going on right now, but we've got good people like you guys here working for us in the summer, doing your internships. And we're talking about this on July 13th without a baseball season going, but we're still working on, what's the future of the Saints.
That's right. And it seems like, it's awesome that you have certainty in terms of an uncertain future. And that's awesome right now. And I think a lot of people need to be more confident and just know what they're doing and stick to what they have done to get themselves success. And you guys are doing that. You guys have fortitude. You guys are strong. And I see a lot of growth in your future. And I'm really excited to be a part of the team. And I'm sure Zach is too. I don't want to spoil what he is. I know it. I can see him. He's ready. He's excited. It's going to be a good season.
I am ready. I am excited. I wouldn't be interning for a team in California while living in New Jersey if I did not care very deeply about the organization, your values, and the ways you're putting your feet forward for not just this summer, but for future summers. So I couldn't say no.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's why I've got a lot of confidence going forward. The reason that we are where we are is because of what you guys are doing right now. You're dedicating your time. Nick and Tommy and I have, again, this has been our nonprofit venture. This is our pet project. None of us have ever taken one dime of paycheck for any work that we've ever done here. This is truly a nonprofit to us, and it's truly, money has nothing to do with it. Money that we raise goes back to the kids.
That's key.
Young men, I should
Very
say.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because as you were saying it, I was doing this before you even said it. They're all about the money. And, I don't like that it's about profit. And even at the club and in the travel ball level, it excludes a lot of these kids who maybe can't afford it. And especially it might be their only opportunity to play summer ball is, this one travel ball team, and they don't have the money. It's just horrible. It's very exclusive. And I appreciate and I hope more youth camps come out of your organization and others. And you guys, continue to work nonprofit. It's amazing. It's really shows a testament to who you guys are and your message.
Yeah, our being able to pay has never been a criteria of being able to play here with us. You know, that. I don't even bring up the costs, or you know, like again, they don't pay us anything for an out-of-state player that comes here. Pays the same thing that he would pay if he went to the Cape, which is that he pays for his housing. And if they can't afford that, you know, we try to go out and find sponsors to subsidize it. You know, I'll give it without mentioning who the kid is. I can tell you we had a kid that came here last year, and his coach said, "Hey, you know, this is a great kid. You're going to like coaching him, and he's a great player." But you know, they're on he's on work study and scholarship and loans, and he doesn't pay anything to go to school here. He can't pay anything to go out there. And they said, okay, we'll figure it out. Send him out. And that's how it's always been. We'll figure it out. And I can tell you that kid was everything that his coaches said. He signed up for every day of youth camp that he could. And that kid essentially didn't pay a dime to be here. He paid for his housing, got his housing paid by working youth camp, pretty much got all his incidentals paid for by working youth camp, and he probably left here with about $500 in his pocket to take home for the summer. You know, it's never been about anyone having to pay a bill or can't pay a bill. And I always tell coaches as we recruit players, you know, don't make it about the price. If you can't pay for his housing, let me know. We'll figure it out.
That's great. Thank you so much, Aaron. Anything left to add, Zach?
What?
Did you have anything left to add, Zach?
No, you answered everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron. You were great.
Aaron.
That was Aaron Milam.
No, you guys bet. You bet.
Seco Sandlot. Thank you.
Seco Sandlot.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care.